M. Night Shyamalan has finally made a good film once again. Yeah, we have undoubtedly entered the Twilight Zone. Guten Tag, Leute. Welcome to the Bucket List Reviews. My name is Gibran, and this is the review of the new M. Night Shyamalan psychological thriller, Split. The film centers around the character of Kevin, who's suffering from a split personality disorder, several of them in fact. He kidnaps a group of teenage girls, and from there on, the game of survival actually begins. A very Shyamalan premise indeed. James McAvoy stars as the deranged split personality disorder patient, with several different personalities, also somehow changes his goals and perceptions towards life. The film is heavily intercut between the scenes of the girls trapped in the cellar to the McAvoy's character visiting his psychologist. And quite frankly, this is the first Shyamalan film that I've liked non-ironically since Unbreakable. Now it is quite well known that after the failure of After Earth, Shyamalan went back to small budget productions in order to get a better control of his projects. Now that may be true, but to be honest, all of his previous films since Size have been fundamentally flawed, regardless of studio interference or not. The writing became very apparently unoriginal, the suspense scenes became unintentionally laughable, and because, for some reason, Shyamalan thought that the Wind would be a compelling villain, not to mention his atrocious cameos.
No, you know, the critics are, I don't know what's going on with me and the critics in the United States, I gotta tell you. They've never got me, and it's getting worse. There's just a little bit of cultural difference, because like, you know, I'm just like on this movie, like, I'm very used to kind of getting on a plane from the US, having been savaged by them, and then going to, like in this case, I went to Japan next, and then they're like, genius!
And to top it all off, he took all of this so ultra seriously that most of them have become unintentional comedy gold.
What? No!
But the film Split, for me at least, undoes most of the flaws that Shyamalan has been suffering from in the past 4 or 5 films. But here is the greatest strength of his work, an element in my opinion carries the whole film to its destination: James McAvoy's performance. He has such a massive task of tackling at least 4 different characters while avoiding the usual awkward Shyamalan writing. If this film is a success in any way, it is due to McAvoy's talent, who convincingly makes us believe that we are talking to a 40-year-old woman or a 10-year-old child, and that is tremendously impressive. The film also stars Anya Taylor-Joy, who was in the last year's horror film The Witch, one of my favorite films of the year. I believe she also gives a really good performance as the victim, who somehow understands where Kevin is actually coming from. And although she doesn't have too much acting chops in display in this film, she does a fine job nonetheless. There's also character of Betty Buckley, who plays Kevin's psychologist, and yes, it is the same crazy lady from The Happening. Even she says it herself in the interviews. The scenes surrounding her and James McAvoy are really great exposition for the film. It clears the fog of the narrative that the audience needs to understand, and it seamlessly blends into the rest of the set pieces. But okay, this film is not without its flaws, and the flaws I feel strictly lie in between Shyamalan's writing and the secondary characters. I don't know why, but the secondary characters in almost any Shyamalan film act so laughably bad, and it unfortunately takes me out of the film every time. I mean, I know the focus should not be on them, but Jesus, did they really audition for the part? Or are they coincidentally some producer's daughter or something? But okay, here's the biggest issue of the film for me. Shyamalan, you may be good at constructing stories, but you're not a good dialogue writer. I mean, really, there are some moments in the film when it's like a very pivotal scene, and then one of the characters says such ridiculous lines, and I go like, what? Who talks like that? There's this one scene near the end of the film where McAvoy randomly blurts out, "Rejoice!" And I'm just thinking, huh? What the hell was that? I think Shyamalan is a much better storyteller than he is at writing. And if it not for its fantastic actors in the film could have been another cheesy, it was supposed to be funny Shyamalan films. But apart from all this, the cinematography is quite brilliant in the film. A lot of tension throughout the film is created through the slow motion tracking and zoom-ins. The film is shot by Matt Giolakis, who previously shot another teenage horror film, It Follows. I think technically speaking, this film is fantastic and memorable. The premise and visuals are heavily inspired by Hitchcock's Psycho, and apparently, Shyamalan has claimed that this film is his most challenging film to date. Now, there's something I need to briefly discuss with you guys regarding the end scene of the film. And no, I'm not here to spoil it for you guys. And it's not really your typical Shyamalan twist ending really. It's kind of an Easter egg which would make you understand the film a bit better. My reaction was more like, okay, cool. But apparently a lot of people seem to be going crazy over this, so make sure you stay till the end. Split is certainly, in my opinion, a comeback film for this director. And even though you might have to ignore the occasional M. Night Shyamalan cheesy dialogue, The film is a fantastic thriller and makes his place as a prolific filmmaker once again. 3.5 stars out of 5. So, that was a review of the suspense thriller Split by M. Night Shyamalan. Which of his films you think is the best? Write below and let me know. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel here, and we'll see each other next time. So, ciao!